And you placed recently in today's tournament, didn't you?
Yeah, I got fourth actually.
All right, so we got a fourth place finalist. And what deck were you running today?
I was running Silvally. I consider it anti-meta.
Anti-meta. So what did you do to build this deck to make it so anti-meta?
So the idea was that, like, I figure in this game, a lot of your matchups are dependent on, like, you have a bad time if you're going against something with weakness. So the idea was just to essentially hit every deck for weakness by playing a bunch of different memories for your Silvally GX, and then also playing a different type for support that you're not already hitting for weakness.
Okay. Now, are these types mainly for the big decks in Standard right now, so you can really hit the really popular big ones?
Oh, definitely.
Or do you have something for, like, all decks, in a sense?
It's kind of for all decks. There's certain matchups you'll have a hard time against, especially, like, ones that you don't hit for weakness, like Vikabulu.
Okay.
And then any other kind of things that don't have weakness, or, like, you don't hit water or certain things like that. But it's to hit the bigger decks, like you hit the Buzzwoles, you hit the Zoroarks, you get those like Alyssa Pods and other metal decks, and then the metal is for Gardevoir right now.
Okay. What would you consider, like we said, this has some trouble with Bulu, some of the weaknesses to this deck that would probably give it a run for its money?
Something really fast, definitely. Like, I play the Psychic Memory for Buzzwole, but it hits me for weakness, so fighting is a weakness for me, and also not being able to hit for weakness. So, like I said, with the Bulu matchup, is they get set up like turn 2, and then I can't one-shot them really. I have to use things like my GX attack, and then relying on my one, like, Duskmane Necrozma. So and it can be hard to set up. So, certain decks that I don't hit for weakness are my hardest matchups, and then just decks that hit me for weakness.
Right. So, what do you have to help build up your deck? Like, something that could help you get to that point?
The Oranguru helps me just draw very early on. You're playing so many tools. I even play Choice Band, and you're playing Max Elixir to accelerate your energy faster. And you play so many cards that you can just drop right out of your hand that your Oranguru is going to be able to allow you to draw really heavily. I only play one copy, but the Oranguru does help really well. Also, your staple 2 Lele, just being able to search the deck, that helps me get through the deck a lot faster. And then just Silvally's Turbo Drive helps me make sure I don't miss a beat with energy, because usually 3 energy cost Pokemon are harder to set up because you have to attach for one turn, wait a turn, and attach another one. But with this, playing Max Elixir, and then once you have 3 energy on a Silvally, being able to attach one on your bench, and then put down a DCE on another Silvally, bring it back up your next turn, you have Silvally's every single turn.
And as for Duskmane, have you had any issues building him up with his high energy cost?
He is an issue, which is why I also play Cobalion. The Cobalion 2 energy, it hits Gardevoir once they take 2 prizes, I think, and you have a Choice Band on it. Because of weakness, you'll do 240 to a Gardevoir once they've taken 2 prizes.
That's pretty massive damage for just a basic...
Yeah, because they should do... Yeah, you should do 240 to a Gardevoir with a Choice Band like this. And then this guy is just to make sure, it does 250, Choice Band on a GX, you're hit...
That's a one-shot.
Yeah, you're one-shotting anything with this guy. But he is a problem setting up, which is why you'll find yourself like turbo driving and max elixering onto him like really early on. Primarily what I focus on is first and second turn, getting the Silvally up, and then building up maybe a secondary Silvally or your Duskmane, depending on what your matchup is. Mm-hmm. If you have to hit something for like fighting weakness or fire weakness, then you would most likely go for the Silvally so that you always have that weakness coming back.
And being so reliant on, Pokemon tools, what is your method of making sure you have the tool when you need it?
That was a big problem, actually, when making the deck, and I think that was one of the last things I did to top off the deck, was playing 2 Skyla to search out your tools. And then you can search out your Max Elixirs that gets you another energy for your turn. You can search out Ultra Balls that helps you just grab your Pokemon. Field Blowers, being able to get rid of your opponent's tools. So, Skyla being able to get out your tools, and then having the Magearna. This Magearna has not seen like any other play other than Mega Decks to be able to bring back Spirit Links. But the Magearna is key because, especially with the Oranguru, like I said, you can drop a tool for your turn, well, not for your turn, as many times as you want, and say you need to hit for fighting weakness, but you can just put this memory wherever you want with Magearna on the field, and say you have 3 cards in your hand, you put down a memory, instruct for 1, and then you can change clothes, pick the memory back up, and it makes sure that your opponent, like, if you, for say, have a Sycamore, you put it down, and then you Sycamore and pick it right back up.
It gets it out of your hand so you don't have to discard it or shuffle it back in.
Yeah, and then since you can pick it back up, your opponent's not going to field blower it off, or knock out a Pokemon with a tool.
That's pretty ingenious. Did you come up with that strategy yourself, or did you get any inspiration anywhere?
The only kind of inspiration I've seen from here is Zachary Kreckler. He played a Metal Silvally list, but he only played, I think, a 3-2 line of Silvally. I'm playing 4-3. And he played some metal support, but he didn't play these. And he didn't play. He played 2 fighting memory, I think, just for Zoroark. But other than that, he was mainly just going based off of attacking with metal Pokemon because Gardevoir and Zoroark were so big at the time.
Right.
So, but I said, those Glissopods are annoying, Buzzwoles are annoying,
Buzzwoles gain a
Zoroark's
lot
annoying.
of traction.
Buzzwoles gain a lot of traction, yes. It's almost considered me putting in a Mew EX just so that then you can Turbo Drive with Mew EX for weakness. So then you have like almost essentially a 3rd Psychic memory, but then you can also use any other attack, like you can use your Duskmane's attack or something like that. So I figured since the game's so, like, losing a game is mainly just based upon if you have a bad matchup a lot of the times.
Right.
I'll lose games just because I'm going against Buzzwole and they're just too fast for me, or now with Zygarde coming out, I tested it and they hit you so fast. So I figured all these memories were coming out and I wanted to find a way to be able to just get rid of the meta. I wanted to find a way to just break the meta.
And that's always something that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
So, with Buzzwole and fast fighting decks being your biggest weakness, what would you say is the one thing you could change in this deck to really counteract that weakness?
Probably the Mew EX. Other than that, it's just a tough matchup. Probably not really focusing on Silvally that much, like getting one out just for being able to have your free retreat, because there's no float stones in here as much as it relies on tools. Because other than your 3 Silvallis, you play 4 of these, that, and this, and then you have these Pokemon. Everything's basic except for the Silvally, so everything has free retreat anyway. So you don't play any float stone, but you would probably just focus on attacking with these guys. And I know this sounds hard, but if you're coming across a Buzzwole, slap down a Psychic Memory attack with one of these. You get 2 prizes. They get 2 prizes back off of you. You throw up your Duskmane, take 2 prizes, they take 2 prizes off of you, and then they've taken 4 prize cards, and hopefully you can get a Choice Band and a Cobalion and one-shot them back and you get your last 2 prizes. So this deck's really based upon outspeeding your opponent because of being able to have the weakness advantage.
Okay.
Because the deck's generally slow, only doing 120, having to accelerate 3 energy, getting a bench set up, and things like that. So that's why I had to put in the Max Elixir, I had to put in the weakness stuff, is being able to hit things for weakness and setting up really, really fast.
And weakness is always like a good way to just one-shot.
Oh yeah, the 120, you do 240 to almost anything that's meta right now. The hardest matchup is Solgaleo and Metagross, which I know sounds kind of weird because you have fire memories, but you're only hitting 240 and you're that 20 damage short.
Wow.
Which is why it's hard. And Duskmane, you Choice Band a Duskmane, you're doing 250, or you just use his GX attack and you're doing 250.
So, what advice would you have for somebody trying to build a deck like this?
Generally what I did was I just said, I saw the memories, I saw Silvally, the Max Elixirs were kind of iffy. As long as you can get one Silvally set up, you can start charging up all your other Silvallis. So I just messed with different counts of memories. I was even playing some electric memory, but just for today I decided to cut it and play 2 Choice Band because we didn't need another one.
To kind of gauge your opponents, and if you're a regular at a tournament, this is a deck you want to play, but not something for new players to try to...
Not for new players. This deck is a little bit harder because making sure you know where you put your Turbo Drive and your Max Elixirs and where you attach for turn. Making sure you put down your memories and instruct and then picking them back up. I've even forgot to pick up a memory sometimes and then they feel blowered away, and that's, for say, my last memory that I needed and now it's gone.
So even one mistake can ruin
One mistake can
game.
ruin this entire game. So playing cards to be able to flex you around a difficult deck, like Enhanced Hammer for hitting those specials, Bridget for fast setup, Rescue Stretcher to get back things once they get discarded. Because you get back your Pokemon, Silvally gets back your energies, and the deck kind of just it's focused on trying to be fast. So whenever a deck's faster than it, and then you, like I said, the Buzzwole's really fast, and Bigaboo's fast, and you don't hit them for weakness. That's its hardest part, is being able to keep up.
Well, it sounds like you came up with a really, really interesting build that I think could actually, like you said, maybe break the meta, which would be really big. Is there anything else you want to add about this deck or this build, or any suggestions for the viewers? Or
the only suggestion I would give is a lot of people ask me how do you build a deck, and honestly I couldn't even tell you. The thing I do is I'll throw in some counts of cards. I think I used to even play a 4/4 and then realize I was hitting Silvalli's too much. If you realize that you're not needing certain things and you need more of other things, like I said, I had a hard time getting my memories out because I only played 2 copies of each. So I dropped some things, played some Skylas, I played 4 Guzmas at once because since I'm hitting weakness, I want to target usually really hard. So, just practicing with your deck a lot. Whenever you get comfortable with the deck, because you can make almost any good deck you can make almost any deck good as long as you're comfortable with it and you know it inside and out.
Well, that's some really good advice. So, once again, placed 4th with this deck. It did really good, and man, it was a pleasure having you come in and talk about this. Like, this has got to be the most interesting deck I've seen today. I didn't see anybody, like, I've seen the Duskmane, but I've never seen somebody pull a Silvally deck that just is gunning for meta. It's gunning to smash those decks that are doing so good and just bring them to their knees.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool build. You did really good.
Yeah, and I even wish that sometimes the list would be better because I'm not even, honestly, I'm not the best player out there. So I've wished that I could get this deck somewhere so that others can see it, and hopefully one of the more pro players can pick it up and then try to work with it and then post it somewhere. And I want to see, because I want to see other people's intake on it. A lot of people look at this and they say, you're playing like 10 tools in a deck, and Silvally is just not very good, and see if there's anything I could do about it. And I want to hear other people's feedback.
Well, I'm sure we'll get plenty of feedback once we have it out there, and I'm sure somebody will have something they could bring in, and hopefully word gets out to some of the bigger, more pro people, and then get back to you and really say, hey, maybe you could add this or take this out, and this deck could be really killer, So that'd be really cool, and I guess we're out of time for now, so thanks again. Pleasure having you, dude.
Hey there, thanks for watching this video. If you liked the video, go ahead and smack the crap out of that subscribe button, and leave a like if you like. As well, feel free to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or check out my wacky antics on Instagram. Also, I've started making music, so if you want to check out some music and kick back to some cool tunes, feel free to check out the link below. Thanks again, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!